Hello from wherever you're watching us around the world. I'm super excited to be on another beautiful edition of Sabi Podcast. And of course, my name is Sarah Isesiru. And on the show today, I'm not going to be doing it alone. I have my familiar faces here who, will be getting to talk about what Ancestors Remembrance is and, of course, what Ancestors Remembrance Day entail generally. So before we dive into the discussion proper, I would love my guests or my familiar faces to do a quick introduction of themselves. So I'll be starting with you.
Okay.
How are you doing?
Hi guys, your usual host has now taken the guest seat. So as you all know, my name is Temlulu Afinfulua. Yes, so we're here to discuss a very interesting topic and have a very engaging conversation.
So to you.
Yeah, I'm Comrade J Chukwuka Iduwe, and
making a comeback.
Yeah, second time on Sabi Podcast. It's a pleasure. It's really a pleasure.
It's my first time though. So I'm honored.
Yeah, okay, it's really a pleasure coming on here. Definitely. And looking forward to this conversation. As we move forward.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So very quickly, we'll be delving into the discussion proper. So I would like to start with you, Comrade Faye. What do you think Ancestral Remembrance Day is like to you?
Okay, to me personally, I think it's two in one. So let me take it with Ancestral Remembrance, the concept itself.
Okay.
They're trying to remind our people to reconnect back to honor their ancestors. And it doesn't necessarily need to be in your family. Mm-hmm. It can be someone that made a notable action or did something great at a particular time. Mm-hmm. Or Ancestral Remembrance Day for me, I think it's a day set aside. Not just set aside. For me, I would say it should be every day. Ancestral Remembrance Day should be daily. You should be living and breathing for, our past heroes and heroines. But for this conversation, yes, we have an event coming up, which is the Ancestral Remembrance Day. But for me personally, I think Ancestral Remembrance Day should be daily. You should honor your ancestors, honor those that have sacrificed for you to be here, those that have gone before you to be here, honor their sacrifices and pray for their strength. So I think that's it for me.
That's beautiful. Comrade Jay, what about you?
For me, I like to give a backup to what I believe ARD is all about. Personally, I'm an Africanist. I'm a Pan-Africanist. And I understand that being a Pan-Africanist, you have to respect, pay homage to people that came before me, right? Because I know me sitting here, it's not by my own make, right? Some people fought for that. They fought for that right. So it's for me to give back, give back in honoring their names, honoring their values, and also honoring, what they stood for. Yeah. That's what ARD is. So that's what I feel ARD is. That's how I feel ARD is for me.
Okay. Let me quickly add a top up with that. So also, as African people, we believe in the concept of reciprocity. Mm-hmm. So in an attempt to let our ancestors know, because a lot of them are not hearing from us. We are disconnected on a very deep level. So, in the spirit of reciprocity, let's take it back to the family level now.
Yeah.
Without your parents, you would not be here. Without your parents, you would not be here. Without your parents,
so we have a lineage.
Exactly.
Yeah, generations.
Before that they came before us.
And they made sacrifices in their own personal lives for us to be here today. They had to make several choices. Yes, they made mistakes. That's definitely.
True. But we're not perfect now. Humans are not really perfect.
Exactly. And looking back is how we can correct those mistakes moving forward. So I just wanted to add that top.
Okay, and I would just like to add a little bit of my opinion too about the what's ARD, Ancestral Remembrance Day. Yeah. Because when you were talking, it made me remember what one of the biggest figures in the media realm someone I look up to. She says that wherever you find yourself in any situation, circumstance, or any position, always remember that there are people who have done the dirty work. Like there have been people just like our ancestors. They've done it. They've done it before us. They've laid down the foundation. They've laid down the grounds and all of that. So it's quite necessary for us. And I actually buy what Comrade Fee said, that for him it would prefer that we have this day every day, rather than picking just
one day. It has to be like a continuous process every day. Like as you wake up every day, you have to appreciate the people that came before you, because that's where we draw our own strength from.
It's very important. So I love that. So very quickly, I'd like to ask that what is the aim and objective of the Ancestral Remembrance, and of course the event Ancestral Remembrance Day? Let me start with you, Comrade Jay.
The ARD, it's I like to look at it like a sunshine day for us, right? Okay. Because this is like one of the first events we're doing, after a long time, when you look at our history, coming from slavery to new colonialism, which we're practicing right now. We've seen that our history has been diluted. People don't really even get to understand the great people that have came before them. Right. So we looking at it now, we're like, okay, let's start celebrating great people, people that have done the work, so that the new generation that are coming can gain inspiration, from these people. So it's a sunshine day for me. I'm anticipating, and I hope people out there are also anticipating for this day, come August 2nd.
I'm already anticipating, actually. I'm ready. Comrade Fee, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like my comrade has said, this is a day for us to come and just spread our wings, just bask in the glory and in the strength of, ancestors that has gone before us, that has done great work. So we are not only here to remember that, okay, they've sacrificed for us. We are here to honor that sacrifice. And we're also using this event to make it known to our people. I mean, like I said, yes, ancestral remembrance should be every day. But we need to start somewhere. We can't just start flying in a single try. We need to start crawling, then before we start walking, then before we start running, and then skies are limit. So our ancestral
beyond the sky. We're even beyond the sky, because right now we're going really, we have to move real quick as African people. So
I think we're making progress. We're making progress.
Real big progress. I
mean, for me, the only progress I would say is a lot of African people are waking up. But it is not enough, because when you wake up, especially from a very long sleep, you become disoriented. Especially when you wake up suddenly, you'll be like, where am I? You lose track of time. You don't even know where you are. So, but gradually, your body, calms down, and you get a feel of what's going on. Then you begin to see for yourself like the truth, to see beyond the illusion. So for me, like I will always say, Ancestral Remembrance Day for me is a day to. I mean, the concept now is for us to remember that for us to be here today, people sacrifice for it. And now for the event is to just look for a day to commemorate the achievements and the works of those that have gone before us.
I also love to add, because we as Africans, we've not really gotten to understand who we are, right? It's a cycle. You have to appreciate your ancestors so that the ones that are coming can be able to do better. So we've been able, they've caught that information, right? So it's, we are lucky people. I always look at us, having this conversation. We're privileged to.
Because you won't find a lot of rooms where they are having this kind of conversation.
Throughout even our secondary school, you don't hear names like, Marcus Garvey. You don't hear names like Yansen Tewa, or Queen Nsinga, or the Queen of Zaria, right? You don't hear those names,
What's the rather hear Western names like William Shakespeare.
How does that link with our history? So it's good that we're doing this. They say we are change makers, and I think now we're making those changes.
That's beautiful. That's impressive. So moving to the concept, the whole concept of ancestral remembrance. So many young people, because I think young people are the ones who are guilty of this. Many young people know great names. the likes of Fela, the likes of Sankara, and all of that.
Yes.
But they know these names, but they do not know the effort or the fight or the struggle that that is bonded with these people, or that these people have done in times back to make that name and all of that. So what do you think that as a society?
Yes.
I mean, our societal norms, our values, and thinking of what you said as well. You said that in secondary school we didn't hear of so many African names. Rather, we heard of the likes of William Shakespeare. How do you think that has actually, hindered? I would say it's an hindrance for me, because we just know their names. Oh, Fela was a good musician, Afrobeat singer, and all of that. But
true.
that was just it. Nothing more. So what do you think? How do you think the society has, hindered that knowledge of young people getting to know the struggle and the fight of these great African names? Yeah, come
okay.
first.
All right, thank you so very much.
That's a very good question.
Yeah, real good question. We have to take it back. We are a people that we don't even know our roots. It took me a long time to get to even understand my own self. As an African man, I was living in my head, so I understood that, we came from greatness. When you start looking at, history, start looking at great Egypt, great Mali, the Timbuktus and the Alexander libraries of the Egyptians, and I was like, where did the disconnection come from? Right? So we understand that the education we have right now is a colonial kind of education.
Westernized.
It's real westernized. Yeah. So that's also going to be one of the problem.
Yeah.
That we facing. Our educational system is corrupt. The information system is corrupt. So people don't even get to understand the fights. We walking freely. It was not like that. They don't get to understand the fight of our freedom, our truth. So I will expect it from a colonial system, and that's why we're here to change that narrative that we're African people. Let's appreciate ourselves for once. Because that will bring us more dignity. Moving forward.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Nice. Comrade Finn, what about you?
Yeah, I would. For me, I would say education. Education. The kind of education we have in Nigeria is that of, the colonial masters. When you think about it, the most educated African, let me bring it back to Nigeria. The most educated Nigerian, go and check the best you can do with your education is to go and serve. Go and check. You're either in Europe or America saying yes, sir, to the white man. Saying yes, man, to the white man. Do you know how many PhD holders we have in this country? How many master's degree holders? How many intelligent people we have in this country? Look at the state of our nation. So, our education, first of all, let's look at what exactly they are telling us. Take Funmilayo Ransome Kuti, for example. The fact that they just had to mention her because her struggle was very, monumental in the history of Nigeria. But what are the things that this colonial education, has taught us about her? She drove to ride a car.
Yeah.
That was all. They're trying to portray her like a capitalist. Okay, it's good to be like as if that's all she was all about.
I think that's also one of the problem of capitalism. It tries to idolize people, not really make us see the humanity in themselves, Because Funmilayo, she didn't just ride the car,
It's funny how, thank God for the movie, I didn't really know she did that happened. The only thing I knew was, she was the first woman in Nigeria to ride the car. And that was it. And we had schools. I learned this in a school. So my school did not teach me that she did more than being the first woman to ride the car.
Yeah.
That's actually very
That's
good.
why I talk about information awareness. And that's why we're trying to celebrate our ancestors, because when you start looking at from Funmilayo Ransome Kuti to Queen Nsinga, to see the struggle they fought for, to see the resistance they stood against, the British, the Portuguese.
Do you know that?
You'll be quite surprised to wow, we had such a power. Why are we not acting different now? You'll be
surprised to realize that most of the colonial struggle against one of the struggles against colonization was backed by our women. Our women, the Haba Women Riots,
Yes.
Fumilayo's women's group, name it.
Yeah.
So our women have always been so fearless, and I mean, we for once, we in this generation, or we that are waking up, need to at least try to rewrite these stories or try to retell these stories. But bringing it back now to the conversation, like I said, education. We first of all need to overhaul this colonial education we have, and bring or install a African-centered syllabus in education. And secondly, this ancestral remembrance concept that we're trying to make awareness for, people already do it. It's not we already do it. Look at our religious brothers and sisters. Look at the individuals that they are revering. They don't have any connection to us. These are ancestors of other races, but we still revere them. We go as far as naming our children after these characters in the Bible and in our religious text. So we already do it. It's not strange to us. The only difference now is that let's do it with African people.
I also love to add that, we as Africans will have to ask ourselves, who are the frontliners fighting for this change?
Exactly. That's a very important question. Because I was wondering when Finn was saying how parents even go ahead to name their children biblical names, and you later figure out that maybe the second name of a child is now it's bad because I am a victim of this. So sometimes I reflect on it and I'm like, why did my parents make my first name this name? Why not my Yoruba indigenous name, for God's sake? Well, I mean, it's. I'm glad that I am getting to realize that. Definitely, good. I'm not going to make that happen when I, start my family. I don't think at this stage, with the knowledge I have now, I don't think I will ever give any of my child a Christian name.
At all.
I'm a Christian, but I don't think I will ever give my child any of my child.
Because you see the power, you see the power within your own indigenous name, right? And that's what we're trying to do. ARD, it's seeing the power within our own self, because we are not just a race of just this, we are children of sacrifices.
Yes.
So if we have that in the back of our mind, I think it changes our behavior in how we behave, and also how we act, moving forward.
Okay. So because of our time, very quickly, I would like to appreciate your contribution, because I actually had something to say, but you guys are literally saying what I wanted to say.
Sorry,
No, it's all good. So very quickly, the second question I would be directing to Comrade Finn first. Do you think, would you say there is a parallel, like a similarity between the colonial rule that our ancestors, like the likes of Fela, the likes of Sankara, Nzinga, and all of that,
right,
they resisted? Do you think there's a similarity with the present rule? I was saying for Nigeria, I think the policy was association. For some other, from French-speaking colonized African countries, where policy of assimilation and all of that, but for Nigeria was association.
Yeah.
So do you think there is a similarity between that colonial rule, the British colonial rule, and the present Nigerian rule, the so-called democratic rule we are practicing currently in Nigeria?
I mean, there are so many similarities. Well, the only difference is that now our situation as African people has gotten worse. Because when you look at the colonial era, during colonization, the colonial masters provided certain things. Not to say I want the colonial masters to come back. Colonization is wrong, period. But during those times, you won't see people look at the atrocities the military regime committed against Nigerian people. You don't just see people being killed on the streets, during colonial era, but for now,
it was worse though.
It was worse, but it was not openly.
It was worse because when you see what King Leopold did to the Congo people, that's a trauma that generations to come, they are not going to really
that
heal
trauma
from.
hasn't healed. Even don't you see the unrest in Congo?
So it's a continuous process.
And this is why we are here. We need to honor. You see, Congo needs to do like Ancestral Remembrance Day for Lumumba. His spirit needs to be appeased, because the way that man went, the way the West murdered this man is so inhumane. After they kidnapped him from Congo, After beating him up and torturing him, they also went as far as cutting him up into pieces and they dissolved his body in acid. You know what they did? They kept his teeth as a momentum. These people are sadists. These people are psychopaths. They kept his teeth as a momentum. So, like I said, the importance of what we are doing, Ancestral Remembrance Day, the importance of this thing is greater than what we can even comprehend. But coming back now to the question, the similarities between the old during colonization and now is very similar. The only difference now is that we have more people suffering now than we have people suffering then. And as at then, the colonial masters, we knew those who were ruling us.
I don't feel comfortable when I hear people address who they were not our masters. They were colonialists. They were just privileged.
Yeah,
they were just colonizers, colonialists. So I would not
call really, them that.
Yeah, I don't like it when people. It makes me feel somehow. They were not our masters. No, they were not.
They are not our masters.
They were colonialists. Okay.
But according to their
books, their thinkers, their greatest thinkers, it's
yes, bringing it back to answer your question, yes, there are lots of similarities now. Then we have colonization and then our so-called independence, pseudo-independence. We claim to be independent, but our language is that of the colonial masters. More than half of our resources is going to the metropolis. What else? Our religion. It's foreign religion. The kind of food we eat, the way we talk, even
our dressing.
We want to go and relax. Where do we go? Europe and America. Where is our holy land outside of Africa? Europe, Israel or Saudi Arabia. So yes, like I said earlier, there are lots of similarities from colonization to pseudo-independence and now so-called democracy, but people sacrifice for this democracy. I'd like to add that. The fact that we are here gathered today having this conversation, people sacrifice for it. For us to be here to just as simple as having this conversation. So from colonization, fake independence, and our struggling democracy, there are lots of similarities.
So very quick, before I ask Comrade Jay, I'd like to add that while Comrade Finn was speaking, you were saying like the Holy Land, we don't have it's that we go to Israel and
Saudi
Arabia and all of that. So the thing about colonial rule was it was wild. It was very crazy. They made it seem like our culture, our traditions were barbaric, were archaic, were evil and inhumane and all of that. But it's actually quite interesting that even this so-called Christianity religion and all of that, Africa was part of it. But they make it seem like it all started. Imagine when they want to choose the room of the Pope of the Catholic Church, they start from Rome. They don't bring it down here. Ethiopia, Egypt, these were places. I was reading yesterday and I saw somewhere Simon of Cyrene that helped Jesus Christ. I'm sorry, I'm not diverting, but Cyrene is a place in Africa. But they made it seem like Christianity was
in the Middle East.
Alien. Africa never had a taste of Christianity.
If they had the opportunity of even caving Egypt out of Africa, they would have done.
That's very bad. So just to add to what Comefin said, colonial really did a thing and it's still doing a thing. And for me, I would say, of course, there is a similarity. But I would say this time around, it's worse because we have our own African people doing us, like our so-called rulers. I won't call them leaders because they're not leaders. They're rulers. They are actually inflicting this pain. They're suppressing and
it's
oppressing.
It's a rule now.
Exactly. They're oppressing and suppressing. But then we had outsiders, we had foreigners.
We knew our enemy from outside, but now it's even our own self
so
now.
More worse for me. So, Kameji, what do you think about that?
It goes deeper for me because what colonialism has done, we're trying to look at it from the past and now. The first thing colonialism did was break the family structure. Now we have a whole lot of single women, we have different manifestations of things that colonialism has done.
That trauma safe.
That we are not even healing.
We are reacting to the trauma.
We are not even healing, right? Look at all the institution. And that's what I wanted to even paint, that when you look at the colonial institution today, it deals with depositing information, into our spaces. Colonialism didn't give us an opportunity to express ourselves. That's why most Nigerians today, we are not even really expressive. We still have...
We've been beaten into submission.
Yes, we can't even express ourselves. When you start talking about black identity or black consciousness, black national consciousness, people get scared, like, what are you saying? But people before, they've done this, they've put in the seed down for us to, grow. Why is it that we're not even taking this information to, propel ourselves, propel our society to the next stage? So for me, it's worse, and it can even get more worse if we don't wake up.
Action.
If we don't wake up and start, changing the narrative. For me, it's all about changing the narrative. Let's change the way we think first. Then it will lead to the manifestations of our material reality, So it's bad, but, we have to do something.
Yeah.
We can't be victims of, these systems that have come before us.
Thank you very much, Comrade Jay. Thank you, Comrade Finn, for such an insightful contribution. So I would like to ask, so if we look back, if we reflect, many of these are freedom fighters, struggle personalities, were artists. I mean, the likes of Fela with his music, Makiba with her voice, Frantz Fanon with his pen, Ngugi wa Thiong'o with his pen, and all of that. So how would you say, and these people are under like the creative, world and all of that. So how would you think, or how do you perceive the role of art, creativity in freedom fighting for Africans? Let's have a Comrade Finn.
Okay. Sorry, can you take the question? The last part of the question.
Okay, I said, how do you perceive the creative world or art?
Okay.
So how do you feel it enhances freedom fighting or freedom struggle in Africa?
Okay, I get it now. So I think as an artist, either you are a writer, like Frantz Fanon, a musician like Fela, or whatever it is you do that has to do with art, like we are doing here.
Yeah.
You should reflect the times. Your art should reflect the time that you are living in, the reality you are living in. Which is why I have a lot of problem with music nowadays. Because I mean, yes, we need to, have a good time and just let our hair down and chill. Yes. Yeah. At the same time too, there needs to be a music that reflect the times, art that reflect the times. Because everything has to be balanced. We can't have too much vanity and less serious issues, because, I mean, yes, we are not allergic to beautiful things of life, but it should be balanced. We should have the equal amount of secular music and also equal amount of conscious music. So whereby one is not overpowering the other. Or one particular industry is not overpowering the other. When our people need to get serious with our art, with whatever it is we are doing, let's get serious. And when we also need to, just let our hair down, let's also do that. So for me, basically, your art should reflect the times.
Okay, that's brilliant.
Thank you.
Comrade Jay.
Like what Comrade Finn has said, right? Art should reflect the time, right? And we always call ourselves the Liberation Generation group of people because we believe in our sovereign rights, as African people. Then Fela, then Fanon, they've done that in their own time. They were able to see the wars. They were able to see how society was evolving or transforming, right? And they were able to tell us beforehand the problems. They utilize their talents, in telling us the problems. So we right now, we should also utilize our talents. Now we have technology, we have, all this equipment, Why are we not speaking up, why still we, why are we asleep, So for me, art should reflect the time in anything you do, be it you being a taxi driver, a writer, a poet,
AOP.
Just, just do what you got to do to save your race. That's what do what you got to do to save your race because, truthfully, our race is really under attack, really under attack. if we don't do something, there's going to be real catastrophe. So we are the ones shouting right now, let's get it right before it gets worse than this.
Okay. I love that. So I would quickly like to add that when you were speaking, of course, I was able to understand that where you were saying some artists, some singers, some musicians we have today, of course, Afrobeat singers now. Some of them even go as extreme to say that they are not Afrobeat. I'm not going to mention names. That they are not Afrobeat singers and all of that. But, you're Africans and all of that. But you say you are not an Afrobeat singer and all. I don't know the whole idea around that.
That's the contract.
But I would say that most of these, our artists, because in the past we had Fela, we had Frantz Fanon, we had Ngigi Watugo. And these people were not just the talk people, they were the talk and do. They were talking about it, they were doing it. But I will just say that our artists, our creatives out there, not just singers, not just actors, like Finn said, OAPs and all of that, media personalities and all of that. Like, don't just be a talk person. Make sure whatever you say, in order to enhance or facilitate African culture, African tradition, and our ideology and all of that, make sure you put it into action. Don't just say, okay, because I'm going for the Grammy and I'm an Afrobeat singer, I just want to dress African. But my actions, my lifestyle is not portraying, it's not in alignment with Africanness or Africanity.
Can I
just that.
Most of them, they are not ideological driven, right?
Yes.
They are not so there are no principles, towards what they preach about or the messages they are bringing, right? Check it, all the old artists, not only about the material stuff, from cars to women to love,
entertainment.
It's just, how do we escape more? And we can't live our life based on escapism, right? We have to look at the real deal, look at reality. This is like we're on the bus yesterday. This is like positive against negativity. We need more artists that speaks to the mind of our people, that makes people think critically of their situation. That's the only way we can transform society. Without that, we are still playing, and it's going to take longer time for us to realize that. So the more time goes, the more we have to put in that positive energy, with our art, with our talent, with whatever, I don't care what you serve as a God, with whatever that God has given you, put it out there, speak for the people. That's where I stand on. I stand on speaking for workers, speaking for the, unidentified in the system, speaking for
the minority,
the disabled, why should all disabled, have that flair of poverty? We should have rich disabled in our society, so you have to use that talent, to speak for these people, and that's the only way you can say, okay, you're doing your own part, you're playing your own role in building your own society.
Okay. That's very interesting. And so far, I've been loving our conversation because, of course, as you know, on Sabi Podcast, we talk about the realistic ideology and how they shape our society. And, of course, we are doing that, how they shape African society, how they shape our identity, our ideologies as Africans. And so very quickly to the next question, I would like to ask that, how do you think youth, like our generation, right? How do you think we can, honor the struggle, the fight that our ancestors, have made without following a blind worship or a blind movement? I'll start with Comrade Finn.
Okay. Sorry. So we can do that by not only taking what this current, like I said, our education in Nigeria is very colonial. So let's not just rely on whatever the education system in Nigeria is giving to us regarding our past heroes and heroines. Let's make our own findings. We have the internet now.
Yeah.
And now the social media or the internet is a global village. You can connect with people from millions of miles away from you and, use the internet to make your own findings, do your own research, have your own worldview or perspective regarding our own heroes, we don't want to just rely on, because if we say we should rely on what the colonial education or what this status quo is teaching us regarding our past heroes, you would reduce fella to only a
musician,
or maybe he likes to be around women, something. All those
the controversies.
If you take Fumilayo Ransome Kuti, like we said earlier in the conversation, you would only realize that she's only she was the first woman to drive the car. Even though she played a very crucial part in the colonial struggle in Nigeria. So ways by which we can move from just worshipping or being fans of these great ancestors is by getting familiar with their work. Because MOP is a manifestation of Baba Fela. We are here today because he was able to dream that far. He was able to give us a platform for us to engage our democracy. So it is by, you won't find many of these things we are talking about in our history books. So make your own findings, make your own research, and those are ways by which you can honor them. Get familiar with their work and see how you can use their work and find ways whereby you can use their work and match it down with your own and integrate it together and to bring about a Nigeria that we want to see, a society that we want to see, or a life or goal that we want for our people. So yeah, I would say, making our own research, getting familiar with the works of these our ancestors, and using their work to influence the work that we are doing here today, because they've been able to push that envelope so far. Now they've passed on the baton. That is our turn. We are waiting, or they are waiting, because their spirit is always with us.
Yeah.
Energy never dies. The body can die, yes, definitely, but their spirit is with us. So they are watching, they are waiting to see how we can tap into this ancestral knowledge and build the Nigeria that we want.
Okay, thank you so much, Comrade Jay. How about you?
For me, I just want to recap what Comrade has said. We need to do a whole lot of study. Malcolm X created the Organization for Afro-American Unity. Fumilayo Ransome Kuti created, the Women Union, the Federation for Human Society. Do we have youth like us, studying those organizations? Because the only way we can win these people, truthfully, is we being organized.
Yes.
We have to understand the tactics they've used to, dominate us. We have to understand the techniques, the strategies, right?
And I think by doing that, sorry to cut you short, I think by doing that, we have to, fight them using their own weapon. Like, we have to
know their own, so that you can maneuver over, maneuver their own ways, So we have to do a whole lot of study. We have a whole lot of ancestors, a whole lot. So from the Malcolm X to the Martin Luther King to Patrick Lumumba to Amilcar Cabral, to Jan Tasewa, the list is long, So why are we now where we at? We have materials to draw inspirations from. So for me, audience out there, if you want to celebrate ARD, come on, do some research before you come August 2nd. Bless.
Thank you so much. So very quickly, I would like to ask, I think it's the last question we have before we, talk about the event, Ancestral Remembrance Day. So I would like to ask, so how do you think colonial education, why do you think colonial education, hindered, or how do I put it, blocked us from, having a definite or a good knowledge of our Africanness and African traditions and ideology? Comrade Jay, let me start with you. Why do you think colonial education did that?
It was psychological, right? It was psychological. They had to, mess with our psyche first.
Yeah.
That's why we are people that we hate ourselves instead of love ourselves. So that's also a manifestation of capitalism, and you can see it in the school. All these are just manifestations of a system.
Yes.
We have to look at the causes of this system so that we can be able to understand, we can be able to understand the whole entire way of how it operates, right? So, like Marcus Garvey said, a people without the knowledge of self is like a tree without roots. So your enemy is not going to give you something that will make you stand or develop yourself. So colonial education, that's what it gave to us, Like Fiyin said, we're a race of, we have this servitude kind of mentality. We don't think in a progressive way, we're not productive, right? So when we start becoming more Afrocentric in our education, which is what we're trying to do here, ARD, getting to know our ancestors, appreciating them, appreciating their works, their values, then we can start reshaping our mindsets and building a society, that appreciates these great people. Okay. Because one day also, being real, we're also going to be an ancestors,
yes.
So what we're doing right now, other people that are coming will say, yeah, this is what these people did, and they can be able to run, with that touch.
Yeah, that's impressive. What do you think? Your opinion?
So the question is how do I think colonial mentality was able
education
was able to do that to us? Number one, I think that's what it's supposed to do. The colonial education is doing exactly
what it was
built for.
Yes.
To turn Africans into servants, So, like I said earlier in the conversation, we need to overhaul this colonial education we have in Nigeria. But while we are waiting for that, because for us to be able to do that, we need institutional power. Because our problem in Nigeria is not personal, it's institutional. Take the security agencies, for example. They are doing the exact opposite of their job. Take the education system, for example. Are they educating us or misinforming us? You will realize that they are actually misinforming us. So the colonial education is perfect. It's doing exactly what it was built to do. So it is now left to us until we are able to get real institutional power by ourselves individually or even collectively. So like Komiji has said, we need to make our own research. We need to study. Because a lot of the information we've been given since, you may not, or you are likely not to find them in our educational institutions. We must make our findings, we must study, we must research. And the reason why colonial education was able to cut us off from our roots is because, number one, the colonial masters came with Christianity. So before they accept you in, they change your name. They tell you your name is barbaric and backward and uncivilized, so you take up their name. This is the process. You take up their name, they train you in their way. And the way that they train Africans, the way that the colonial master would train Africans is not the same way that he would train his own children. The kind of contempt, the hatred, that the colonial master had towards training the African child is beyond our imagination. Because look at the process that we had to go through. Going through all these processes, before you come out fully as a westernized African, you are already a caricature of a European. So you are not yourself anymore. Even your name is not your native name. Your religion is not your native religion. The colonial education is doing exactly what it needs to do. So it's now left to us until we gain institutional power to begin to now study, collectively and also individually.
Okay. I love that. Thank you so much. So I would like to add that colonial education system, of course, it has actually, the fact that it's derailed our knowledge of our Africanness and all of that. It made us actually forget about our ancestors. Mm-hmm. Like it gave us a picture of an unpure ancestors, like people that were not worth being.
Because when you say ancestors, people are saying demons.
Yes, they interpreted it to something else. That they are bad people, demonic people. Mm-hmm. But actually, ancestor is actually people that have worked.
Like you appreciate your grandfather, you appreciate your grandmother.
But colonial education posed it that because when I was a child, I used to think anything ancestors.
That's demonic.
It's demonic. Any ancestral powers, but I mean, it's not that. It's not that. So, and I love the fact that we had this conversation. I love the fact that many people, watching this would have learned one or two about how important, it is for you to speak and, be identified, showcase yourself as an African in wherever you find yourself, anywhere around the world, on the continent, I mean Africa or outside of the continent, be yourself, be African, be proud of who you are. If your name is some people will be like, oh, what if the white man or the white person cannot pronounce your name? We can pronounce Arnold Schwarzenegger, that kind of name. Korean, Chinese name, we can pronounce them. They should be able to pronounce your name.
Let's give them that
exactly, they should. If they can't, they will learn it. Because that's an excuse that most people say, oh, let me change my name to a name that they can.
But why should we have...
We are compromising, but they cannot compromise. It's unfair.
I think it's self-hate.
Yes.
But again, my own question is, why is it that African, we have to always put our standard... according to the European
according to their dictates,
or their culture.
We make compromises for them, but they cannot.
Yeah, we don't even appreciate our own culture, Even the culture that they've given to us, even the Christianity, we're the one that created these things, right? So
that's open for debate, but let's not go there.
Yeah, that's a whole lot. It's a whole lot.
My point is, they should. I mean, you would never find an European that would just wake up one day and say, maybe just give birth and say, my child's name is Ajale Kuku. They will never do that because they have pride in their own culture. They have pride in their own self. So it is only African people that you would find. Okay.
Just to add, right? When you go into the White House, when you see the pictures, at the back of the White House, you see their ancestors.
Yes,
people don't play with their
them, the Benjamin Franklins and the likes, But when you come to our own, you start saying something quite different. So that contradiction is what we have to... For me, it's just changing that narrative.
It's so sad that even in our institutions, my own tertiary institution, we have places named after these people. It actually saddens me. Honestly. You have a place like Trenchard. You have a place after Queen Elizabeth. You
Victoria Parks and all those things.
Why?
Like crazy.
Queen's Hall, Queen Elizabeth II ward.
Family.
Trenchard. Who Trenchard was? Oh my gosh. We have people we can like our own institutions.
Do you want to even name Port Harcourt?
24th century.
That's God forsaken human being.
So I love the fact that many people out at home, watching this, I've learned one or two, and I'm so excited to thank you. It's such an honor to be on this edition. I was able to learn and relearn, and of course express my opinion and all of that. So it's an honor and a privilege. I'm super grateful. So very quickly, to the event happening on the 2nd of August, that is Ancestral Remembrance Day. People, you should be anticipating. Actually, I am anticipating. I think everybody, even though it's not new to you guys, you're also.
I know, definitely. I call it a day of sunshine. So
this is our own Christmas, New Year, Easter rolling
everything together.
As in, we're bringing everybody, like
we're very excited.
So what are the plans? To let those at home to know what are the plans, the venue for the event, the programs in place, the series of programs, activities that will be taking place.
Yeah.
There, I think you should. I'm directing that to.
All right. So the program is going to come up on August 2nd.
Yes.
It's a Saturday. We're going to start from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's at Freedom Park, right? We're going to have like a
Freedom Park where?
In VI.
VI where?
Victoria Island, Lagos.
In
Lagos.
Okay. In Lagos, right? So, some things our viewers are going to really expect is, you're going to have Showboy with the Egypt 80, band. Tobik Majek also with the Dasid band. We're going to have, great speakers like, Comrade Baba Songo, Diallo Kenyatta, we're going to have,
coming all the way from...
no, he's going to like do a write-up, do a write-up.
Send us a...
write-up. So
I'm excited.
We're also going to maybe have like Vector, right? We're looking at also bringing, Vector, to the events.
Sorry, I want to ask, I don't know, what about this artist, Brimo? Is not going to be there?
We can write to Brimo.
We can write to him.
There's no...
We don't know how
because he's one of the
Afrobeat
artists that out there. I know
and I know he's going to bring in more people, right? So...
Yeah.
And we're also going to have a whole lot of indigenous games, Also some ARD games, we have some wonderful surprises. You know, we can't just
don't
let
let all the cat-
we can't just let the cat out of the bag. So
just yet.
you know, some wonderful surprises for people that are going to win the ARD game. So come on, you know, come with your friends, come with your family, and you know, let's make that event a very wonderful event. August 2nd. Mark that date on your calendar.
So that's nice. I'm anticipating that.
Yeah,
So to
yeah.
Comrade Fee, how would you tell people how, like, people might be watching, how can we support, how can we be of help and all of that? How can that be done?
I think I will let my able comrade handle that.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, it's same
Okay,
thing.
Hold on, let me attempt. We'll both attempt.
All right.
Okay.
Let you keep hugging the mic.
Okay.
So you can support us in whichever way that you feel that you can, financially, materially, you know, even in spirit, you know, support the movement, support the party, support the events, support the concept, embrace the concept. So just briefly touch on how you can support us. I think I've done that. I will let my comrade, you know, go into the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, you can support like what's comrade. I'm not gonna say anything different from what comrade Faye has said, right? But we're gonna be having more merch there.
Exactly.
So we want comrades to buy, not just buy a merch for yourself, but buy a merch for other people. You know, we're expecting about 600 people, right? So we want comrades to, get the merch, right? Also, pick up your ticket at the ARD landing page. It's very important, Tickets, get your merch, buy more merch for people, and, just keep propagating ARD, the Ancestors Remembrance Day.
I mean,
Our own Christmas, Easter,
New Year, everything
They
joined
put
together.
everything inside one.
Yeah.
Sharp.
Okay, that's very beautiful. That's very beautiful. And it was I enjoyed my time with you guys.
Same
Thank you so
here.
much.
Same
it was an
here,
honor, it was
like,
a privilege.
it's
and,
very good.
It was like, I'm feeling like we should continue the conversation,
Definitely.
but unfortunately we cannot.
because of
And
time.
of course, I'd like to say thank you to MOP, thank you to Sabi Podcast for
Definitely.
having me, for
Yes.
making me, come on the show and do my thing and
Definitely.
contribute and all of that. Thank you so much,
Definitely.
Comrade Fee.
I'm grateful.
Thank you, Comrade Jay, and thank you to the comrades behind the
In the-
camera.
yes, so
thank you so much. Thank you
them,
very much.
them Troy, the editor, them
Comrade
Comrade Bosun,
Bosun,
and then Comrade Olayemi that have been
Come
calling
on.
us.
Come
We
on.
appreciate all
Yeah.
comrades from
And
all
of
your
course, to you
states.
watching us at home or watching us from wherever you're watching us around the world, make sure to join another insightful and interesting, beautiful edition of Sabi Podcast, where we get to talk about ideological, realistic things and how they shape our society as Africans and as African people. Until we come your way again, remember to keep the concepts, keep the culture, and remain African. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share on all our social media platforms on Instagram, X, and on YouTube at Sabi Podcast. Thank you.